Okay. All right, we'll call this meeting to order. This is a budget meeting, Thursday, June 29th, 2023. And Jack is the Grand Forks County Correctional Center,
So-
Mr. Burkholder.
Is David joining? He's not
Yes.
on yet,
Okay,
so maybe we should wait for David.
we're gonna wait a few minutes to see if David checks on.
Okay, I'm here.
We see you.
Oh, now you don't know. That's probably
No, we don't.
better.
Couldn't hit the button fast enough.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Just for clarification purposes, not sure why it's showing Michael.Rusted, but it is in fact Mark.
Okay, yeah. Same first initial.
So implement the 5% for everybody. July 1, and then
Make a
nothing.
pick a date. It could be, no, so it would be implement maybe October for that 5%.
Oh,
And then in January, do those other two pieces.
but not the 5%. Just do the 5% early October, and then do the regraded
And,
at the out of market.
right, and then the out of market,
Nothing else?
we already gotten the 5, so we removed the,
So the 5% is across the board except sheriff's office.
correct. It would not impact the sheriff's office. So that's the thought process.
would go down to sheriff's.
Right.
So I don't know if Dave is having issues.
No,
I sent him the link.
I'm running the
3
meeting
o'clock
because
light.
he's not gonna be here.
Okay.
He said he was.
Gonna be on
I
Zoom.
thought, but
You just give him a minute. It's only 3:02.
We can just make Brett sweat longer, right?
He doesn't sweat.
Things he has to deal with, it takes
Yeah.
a lot to sweat, I'm sure.
Much easier than
I can make noise.
you can do what?
I can make noise.
It'll
If
make
she
you feel at
walks
home.
there, she'll
Uh-huh.
miss
You know,
me.
No, like the
Scream and
screaming.
pound on some
oh,
doors for me, yeah.
We were like hanging out with my kids. so that-
No,
Oh, man.
we don't have metal doors, so it wouldn't be as fun.
You need some good.
You need a good metal door.
Show.
Well, they did over.
The matinee this afternoon.
Yeah,
So gotta use that.
I wanna say maybe I don't know where it was. I know we got one a long time ago. It's like,
Well, you could eat a lot of popcorn and pop for that.
I was gonna say, we could probably just go in and buy candy, huh?
Yeah, there you go.
I swear that we did. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna look for my AMC movie card.
AMC. Bummer.
Yeah. last
It was a
week.
gift. I mean, I didn't pay for it, but it was a gift. I feel bad.
Are you going to be on Zoom?
I have 2 friends that work there.
Oh, I see.
But I heard a rumor that there's interest from other companies. Potentially moving in there or something. Good conversations.
It'd be nice to have, it's always nice to have.
That's gonna be fun.
I'll be honest, I prefer the AMC over River Cinema.
All right, sounds good.
I like the seats
Hi.
better.
He'll be on in a second.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, we live way on the south end and we go to the north side, east
Yeah.
side, just because we were like in another part of the town. Like we're going on a date night and way far away from all of our children. Also, Blue Moose is my favorite restaurant. If anybody ever wants to meet me again, I'm just kidding.
Where was that? Blue Moose?
Blue Moose is my favorite place. So it's fun when my husband asks me where he wants to go. He's like, "Where do you want to go?" But the Blue Moose. Like he's like, "We should branch out."
Can't mess with the good.
Oh
So,
man.
if the kids are bored tonight.
Yeah.
It's classic car night at Culver's.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
it's-
that's
they're
what's
featuring Fords on the berm, so I'll have my Mustang up on that grassy
Nice.
part.
Tristan likes to go there because Grandpa takes him there for
Yeah.
cheeseburgers and
Yeah.
milkshakes.
Yep.
That's their thing.
5:30,
cars.
6 o'clock till about 8.
Man, we're gonna have a busy night.
Hmm.
A movie, a car show.
Oh, boy.
What's playing at AMC? They have it online.
Busiest parking lot it's been in years, I bet.
That and the sub place, but
Grand Junction.
Grand Junction. Friends of ours said they waited in line for like an hour and a half.
Wow.
Like, you guys are closing and you have an hour and a half line wait. Good stuff, so.
Geez, I was going over the classic car thing at Acres last night.
Yeah, it was.
We're in Eastside.
It's the same time.
There's a Grandma's Cookie Ice Cream place right across the street from
Yeah.
Bernie's.
Yep.
The line was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you start to have a donut place.
Yeah.
Truck,
Yeah.
truck,
Yeah, it's Grandma's
Tim Hortons.
Team Cookie or
Not same shop.
Grandma's Cookie Ice Cream.
Grandma's that, you know, where that sort of steak deli.
Reactions.
Oh.
Second is
That was there on what?
42nd.
Must be popular, that's all.
42nd and 17th.
Right by the Alaris.
Right across the
Oh,
street
yeah,
from there. It's right across the other way.
Oh, yeah. Where the Tim Hortons,
Okay.
was that?
Where Grand Junction is or was.
In that little shopping center. Like a clothing store, a bottle
So
shop.
Boston chicken and stuff.
No.
No.
He's on, I see him.
It's.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
on.
all right.
All right,
Let's show on the
we
road.
will commence with the meeting. It is Thursday, June 28th or 29th. And Grand Forks County Correctional Center Administrator Brett Burkholder is up.
Well, I don't know what you have in front of you, so I don't know where to start or what you've seen, or the process you're using this year to review the budgets.
Pages 2 to 4.
As the budget was presented, at this time, there are no staff increases, no new staff. What I do anticipate is additional overtime now that we're accepting snow removal, and my staff, my maintenance people will be doing that. My hope is though that even though I show an increase in the budget, my hope is that we'll be able to reduce the amount of overtime that we're paying the correctional officers because we've been short-staffed and having to bring people in. And if you recall, we have an on-call pay and such that we've been using. I was able to actually shut that off for about 5-6 weeks in an attempt to not have to pay, because I don't want to do that if I don't have to. And that only lasts about 5-6 weeks, and we're short-staffed again and running into problems. So we have enough new people on the teams
Oh, okay. So it's-
that they're all in training and FTO process. We had to reinstitute it for a short period of time, but my hope is that that we'll be able to get rid of that at some point. I did leave it in next year's budget because I just don't know where we're going. We haven't been fully staffed for 3 years, and it would be crazy for me to think that it will magically fix itself yet this year and never reappear. So that I did leave in there. As we get outside of personnel, one of the things that I have increased is travel. Because of COVID, we weren't going anywhere. We haven't done anything. And there's a number of national conventions that I highly believe that myself and maybe even another staff member or two should attend occasionally. The AJA, the ACA, their national conventions, as well as AELE puts on our nice convention that deals with all the legal issues within the correctional facility and helps to keep us ahead of the game in some of that stuff. So I've got that increased a little bit. You'll see across the board a number, if you have do you have the numbers from the previous years in front of you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You see everything's got a slight increase almost everywhere. Those are a couple factors that are causing that. One, if it's associated with Grand Forks County inmates, we are representing a larger proportion of the whole than we ever have. So if, for example, there was $20,000 in a budget line item and Grand Forks County was 60% of those individuals that made up that 20,000, and now we're at 80%, you would expect a 33% increase from 60 to 80 in Grand Forks County costs. So as some of these things, you see the increases, it's associated with that we're a lot more of a lion's share of the whole. It's also just the cost of everything, as everyone has experienced in your personal life, everything's going way up. Some of the costs we're getting, I'm saying, no, we can't do that. And I'll give you an example. In our data room with all the electronics and so forth in there, we have 2 split air conditioners, of which both failed. I don't have a choice. I have to keep that room cool. 2 split air conditioners installed right now is over $14,000. Would have been half of that pre-COVID. So I'm trying to take into account those things. Let me see what else did I comment on. Repairs. While that one goes up $5,000 from 75 to 80,000, we spent 53,000 in 2022, and we're at 18,000 and some change this year. That building, while it might seem new to some people, being that it only opened in 2006, it's starting to really show a lot of its age in a lot of different ways, and we're having to repair more and more all the time. The parts, the cost per hour for the labor, everything's hitting us, and I see that affecting us even more so in the next year. Under building repairs and upkeep, that is the exact same dollar amount as what we have in our budget this year. But it's simple things like that data room air conditioning system at over $14,000 to repair. I've got 3 large A.O. Smith gas water heaters that heat the water for all the inmates. One of the 3 is not working. The quote right now for just replacing the one water heater is over $15,000. So $40,000. If I get that, if I have the money this year, we're going to do it. But if I don't, I have to have it available next year because we do need that one. If we lose one more, we won't have a choice. We're able to limp with 2 right now, but it's not ideal. We also have a 4th one of the same size in our laundry room that provides hot water to all the washers. And we wash clothes 7 days a week for multiple hours a day. We can't be without a water heater. If that one goes, we have to get it replaced. There isn't a backup for that. Let me see here. Let's see, another $5,000 increase under what's called the correctional officer. That's all the uniforms and everything that we need to purchase for the officers. The price of all that has gone up, and we've had to restock in that. In 2022, we bought very little, so our inventory is down as well. So it's a combination of things on that one. Medical, drugs, and etc. That one this year is budgeted at 250,000. I have it at 285,000 next year. That's a very volatile line item. That one can be really good one year and really bad another year. It all can depend upon the inmates and the medication of which we need to purchase. So that is an extremely difficult one to predict. If we were going to cut anywhere, I would say we would cut something in that line item, knowing that we won't have a choice. If we have to go over, we have to go over because we have to provide the medication. But in 2022, actual expenses were about 134,000. I didn't go back to 2021, but I'm guessing it was substantially higher than that because we came into the year with 275,000 budgeted. Under building improvements, that's to go up another $20,000. That's just the maintenance of the building more so. Cleaning, occupancy sensors, training room, TVs, possibly changing right now, the Attorney General's office created what's called the 24/7 program, the SCRAM program. That was, and Bob, if you recall, you can correct me, but I believe it was about 8 years ago or so, 7 years ago, something like that. Well, that requires those out in the public to come to us and be tested twice a day for breath tests, and or have a ankle bracelet on and come to us about every 2 weeks to download all the data of what that bracelet's test results are. We have no place to do that. We've been doing it in the lobby for these 7 years. Well, one of the things that we've changed is our visitation area. Much of our visitation today is done remotely. The large visitation area we have, it's my hope that we can take about half of that area, put up a wall and a door, and now we have a spot actually to do this testing. And it would work ideal. We can lock up all the equipment in there and so forth. Be just a small improvement that we could do. Furniture and equipment. That got a $25,000 increase. There's some big things on there that I would say are kind of on a wish list. We don't have a firearms discharge trap. So when someone has a weapon, we don't have a discharge trap in the sally port, which we should have. Our training room is in great need of chairs. If we choose, we can hold that off and do that when the new addition is done. So we'll have a new training room there. Otherwise, we'd look to buy the chairs or the vast majority of the chairs now and then move them to the new training room when that's ready. We have one lawnmower that is starting to age, so this would have enough funds in there to add a second lawnmower and then actually be able to retire and or sell the old one at some point. And the other thing that I had in there, whether or not we have it or not, is a little ATV with a plow. Just the fact that if we're going to be doing snow removal and so forth, some of the things that we could do with a small ATV with a plow, we can clear up a lot of space in a real hurry. I have under vehicles, the replacement of our 1997 15-passenger van.
The mint condition white one.
The mint condition white one, correct, yes. So I would look to replace that. I don't know that we would get another van. We might get just a smaller Expedition and or Explorer like we've been using. It seems though more of our transports are not in the 12 to 15 range, but a smaller number. If we choose and have the space when the addition is built, we do need the larger vans because then I will again seek to hold more ICE inmates and stuff here, generate income for the county. And then as part of that, typically what we do is we transport them down to Sherburne County at some point, and then they pay us for the staff time and the mileage and everything for that. So if that's a plan that Grand Forks County wants to take on, I would look to replace this with a van again, because then we're prepared for that. Under food service, you see about a $32,000 increase under the food service. This last year, I saw the largest increase I've seen in 35 years in food service. And everyone sees it in the grocery stores. It's no different than what we're dealing with there. But even at that, the total cost in the kitchen, when you add up the food service, the repairs, everything, and come up with the 483,000 divided by our average daily population times our 3 meals a day, equates to over 219,000 meals that we prepare. That works out to be $2.20 a meal. The commissary inventory sales tax. I don't know what that all includes because I've seen numbers everywhere on that. I've tried to research that. So I'm just really bringing over the previous year's numbers because I've seen it anywhere from 17,000 on the commissary inventory to over 40, almost 41,000 in the last couple of years. I don't know how that's getting coded and what that is for sure. So that I have a question. On the income side, the biggest thing here is the decrease once again in the prisoner board payments. Where I used to budget almost $2 million, I'm down to 800,000. And that's because I can't sell beds. We have no room. Right now in our budget, we have $1 million in, yet through the first 4 months, we're only at 284,000. That's a big hit for us. On the positive side is the video visitation commission. One of the things that we changed when we went from Reliance and Turnkey Corrections providing our communications was the video visitation, which Turnkey Corrections actually had before. Wasn't that good, wasn't user friendly, and it wasn't utilized a lot. The video visitation is being utilized a lot now, and you can see that so far in this year, $102,000 in commission on that. Whereas back in 2022, the total year was only 30,000. So we're 4 times higher in 4 months than we were in 12 months. And that's the utilization. Inmates are utilizing. HomeWave allows them to video visit as cheap as it is to phone call. So if someone's got a cell phone or something like that where they video visit, that's what we see them doing more times than not. Other than that, I think everything is more a direct reflection of what we're seeing with just slight increases to each category or decreases depending upon the category. I'd open it up to any questions that anyone might have had from reviewing the request.
Any questions from anybody?
I have 2 random questions.
Okay,
You said the correction officer line item, that's for uniforms. The correction officers, obviously.
Yes,
What is the uniforms line then for?
that is the uniforms for the inmates.
Okay, sorry,
That
that makes sense.
that throws me almost every
Yeah,
year.
that's why.
I have to look at it.
What? Okay, and you're just looking to buy forward, like you need to restock your supply, is what you're saying, to spend the 15 to now 20,000, okay. And then the 24/7 scram, it looks like the last 2 years, we budgeted 1,500, haven't used any of the money.
That, you're correct, we haven't. But if someone doesn't pay us, we have to pay the state for the use of those bracelets. So the fact that we haven't spent money is a good thing. That means we're collecting. But that's not always the case.
Clarification, thank you.
But speaking of 24/7, you had mentioned having a separate area for that program. Just curious, how many inmates at any given time or per year do you have, or not inmates, but citizens, I guess, on the 24/7 program?
If I was going to guess what a daily average would be, it would be in the low to mid 30s. I can get exact numbers if
I was
curious,
just,
but recollection, I would say it's in the low to mid 30s.
Earlier today, the Employees Association said they understood that money was tight and they were going to ask not only for something monetary, but they also were thinking about asking for additional personal days. And I just wanted to run that by you, because I know in the past that has been an issue for your department. And then they also talked about increasing wellness hours.
As it pertains to any leave, the biggest issue I have is being able to grant leave. Because everyone is scheduled and so forth, and I have to maintain minimum staffing. So if I don't have full teams, the granting of additional leave can be more difficult. The one thing, I mean, if that is the wishes of the rest of the county, if there was a means of, rather than use it or lose it type of thing. I mean, if someone asks to use a day and we say no, we can't give you that day. If they would have the ability to carry it forward or something, that might be helpful too. But I know the staff would appreciate another day, but or more hours. I would just have to try to figure out how we do that. If we can get staffing full, it'll be much easier. And we're a lot closer thanks to HR and their help than we've been in 3 years. They've been working very
We
hard.
are folks, those 3 are those floating ones for trainings. Spin that to positive,
Yeah.
yeah, technically, yeah.
Michelle, you said those personal days for the rest of the county, they can't be
Yeah, personal days
rolled over.
don't roll over. If you don't use them, that's why most people try to use their personal days before they use their vacation. Because they don't roll over to the next year. But no matter what, if someone terms within that year, they're available to them, so it does get paid out. One of the other things we talked about was the possibility of having Juneteenth as a paid observed holiday. And maybe do that instead of 2 personal days. That was one of the recommendations we were talking about as well, because it shows more inclusiveness. It's, you know, recognizing this holiday that's very important to a lot of Americans. So that was one of the other ones.
And that has less impact than it's paid on top of your schedules.
Right.
That would have less impact.
It has actually a better impact.
Right, you have
Because
to
you get
increase
paid,
your-
you wouldn't have to have anybody not be there.
Right, the officers are gonna be there no matter what.
So
So
Just
that's-
increase your holiday pay.
Yeah, it would increase by.
They just get an extra 8 hours that.
It's a big deal.
in the other department, it could have a similar type of a impact for the highway department if there was some kind of a crazy weather event.
Don't say snowstorm.
I say crazy weather event
It's June.
in
but-
June,
well,
but
I'd
they,
say
like,
sheriff's
sometimes they've had to go deal with the bridge, the road washing out in Manville by Turtle River, so
Yeah, well, the sheriff's office would have.
Yeah. sheriff's office.
detention. Yeah.
So it would be,
Yeah.
you know. So there's just kind of that balance.
Any other questions? Mr. Engen, do you have anything?
You're on mute.
This is fun.
I love it.
Mr. Engen, do you have anything?
I couldn't get it off mute for a second there. No, I was able to follow along. I don't think I have any questions.
Okay, Commissioner Peach,
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Rusted,
Yeah, quick one. I don't really know how critical it is right now, but Um, early on during Mr. Burkholder's talk, he mentioned some water heaters and some mini splits. And that kind of falls right into my wheelhouse. And it kind of got me to thinking, is there like a preventative maintenance schedule for, all the aspects of the building within the facility? And then, of course, leading up to an addition, I think that might be pretty critical. Just kind of curious, because I have some of the exact same equipment, the exact same water heaters you referenced. I can guarantee you I got the same ones. And so I'm just kind of curious. I know they do require certain things to be done from time to time that would be on a real simple preventative maintenance schedule that might prevent us from having to, buy new ones, as often.
But we do have a number of service contracts with many vendors, that help with the maintenance and the preventive maintenance of much of the equipment that we do have out there, especially all the large stuff. As for the water heaters, I don't know that there's a preventive maintenance plan on those of anything I'm aware of. The mini splits in the data room, I don't think they were included, Mark, with the contract that we have with Johnson & Johnson. I think that's just the large chiller.
Water is Johnson Controls.
Johnson Controls.
Yeah, Johnson Controls, yeah. Yeah, I don't think they covered the mini splits. So right now, the Landry's was a low bid in getting them installed. So I think they were finishing up yesterday, getting it done. I know that with some of that stuff, it's like Bill has talked about the fact that with the cottonwoods and the seeds and everything, anything that has an exterior condenser or anything like that, we have to ensure that they're cleaned and so forth regularly, because keeping them from overheating and so forth. But if there's something we're missing, I would love to sit down with you if there's something, ideas that you might have on some of that other stuff that doesn't have service contracts, or what we could do. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, it's something to think about. You've got a PSA agreement with Johnson Controls on
Yes,
the
sir.
chiller? Okay.
Yes.
Right. Commissioner Hagan, do you have anything?
I don't think so.
There's nothing else. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
We did ask him about that. Did he, snow removal
Mhm.
contract, and they still are doing snow removal out there?
Okay.
So,
Michelle, did you want to talk about?
Well, this was one of the pieces when we were talking about the potential of, looking to try and get something done with the employees for 2023. And when we talk about, we have, Roberta calls it the 3 prongs. I think of it like a 3-legged stool, where if we could implement the 5% increase across the scale as a market adjustment. And if we were able to do that at some point in 2023, maybe we choose to do it October 1st because it's the beginning of a quarter. I'm just, I don't know what those numbers would look like. But then in January, create the new scale for those out of market positions. And now, because we've already increased it by 5%, we would only increase the out of markets by 7%, because they get a pay increase a little earlier than January. And then move the regraded positions that we identified to the new grades in 2024. And when you regrade a position, the seniority date or the step date changes. That's the way it is. For, I don't know how many years, we made that change several years ago. But that was one of the ideas that Roberta and I were talking about. So yeah, the stool would be a little wobbly until we got the other two pieces, and then it would be standing on its own, so.
The last one.
No, if it's changed January
Oh, oh.
1st, it's 2025 before they give another step. Yeah. So that was one of the options that we brainstormed at lunch to figure out, maybe we could just look at the dollars and see what it looks like, see, you know, how it would play out. So, and then there was a question about the wellness hours. So we've got the calendar of events, many of them are virtual events and things. And then on the second page, I just have, and I emailed these to Commissioners Rusted, Peach, and Amen. But then we have the participation. This is the number of people who participated throughout the years. And you'll see that the correctional center had big challenges in 2022 for participating. And I think that staffing probably had a lot to do with that, just all kinds of different crazy things. And if it does show social services on here, but you need to understand, once the zones were created, social services was not allowed to continue with, they don't get the wellness hours. And the one person in 2021 that says human service zone is actually somebody who transferred from one department to the zone in 2021. So that's why it shows there, otherwise it would have been a 0. So it was just some information from questions that we had earlier this morning.
Do you want me to calculate the cost of this now?
I do, please.
All right.
What would you think after the budget cycle, like October 1st? 5%? See what it costs?
Yeah.
Would you think that?
That's anything.
That's
that
the
we
quarter,
can-
right?
And that's a plan that we can communicate. If
Yeah.
that gets, you know, if that's what was decided, once Debbie gets the.
Yeah, to see what the numbers shake out to be.
Yeah. Commissioner Rusted, Commissioner Higgins, Commissioner Peach, what do you think?
Was I called first?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I suppose, I mean, I like the idea of seeing the budget with the additional items and without them. Like kind of how Debbie was gonna do for some of the other items we spoke on this morning.
Yeah.
And so I don't see what it hurts to look at the budget with that item added. And then we can look and see where that leaves us at a, you know, in worst case scenario, we can't move forward, but at least we'll have, you know, a good idea of just exactly what the cost is. And it might be actually a good exercise for myself for sure in understanding total cost of these items.
Okay. Commissioner Peach,
I'd be good with that, yes.
Commissioner Engen,
Yeah, same here.
okay. That's what we'll look at.
Okay.
All right. Anything further? Wellness, whatever?
Nope.
Okay,
We're good, and
all right.
we'll have our next meeting. Right now it starts at 2:40. If something changes, I will notice you when the meeting starts.
Okay, that'd be Wednesday, July 6th
And we'll do it in this room again.
in this
July
room.
5th. That's it, right?
Wednesday, July what?
July 5th.
July 5th.
Fifth.
At 2:40?
So,
Yep, 2:40.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
do we need
We're done.
Goodbye. Have a happy 4th.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks.